and welcome to a very special 25th episode of WWE Locker Talk, the show everything WWE past, present, and future. I am your host, Koltyn, here for a very special last second episode of Locker Talk. We haven't had a show in a while, and so I thought I would just come and give you my thoughts on a few topics on wrestling, answer a few fan questions, or maybe just one fan question or two. And we'll just see where it goes. I don't know how long this is going to be. I've got about 4 main topics that we might talk about here. So let's dive right into it with a fan question. This is going to be our main topic of the show. I'm really excited about this one. Question from our very loyal fan, Daniel Farmer, asked me specifically. I'm struggling a little bit with it today. He wanted to know who has a better beard, Daniel Bryan or my boy, Andrew Luck, who didn't have a very good day today. But that's okay because the Colts are still going to win the Super Bowl. I almost said the World Series. It's still baseball season, either way. The answer is Andrew Luck, just because you can't beat Andrew Luck in a beard contest. But Daniel Bryan does have a very magnificent beard, which brings me to my topic of the best beards in wrestling history. This is just me, as my opinion. This can definitely vary from people to person. I think that almost all wrestlers look better with facial hair. I think all men look better with facial hair. That's just my personal thoughts. But I thought I'd go through and tell you some of my favorite wrestlers who have had my favorite facial hair through the past and present of WWE. I'm not going to go with just the kind of normally groomed facial hair, like a Stone Cold Steve Austin with the goatee, or like a Macho Man Randy Savage, or just or guys like Randy Orton or Wade Barrett. Who I think look much better and much more intimidating with just that regular, normally clean-cut facial hair, but it's not really memorable and not really distinctive. So we're going to jump right in. The first one, as I've already mentioned, Daniel Bryan, the Yes Man. It's all about that beard, man. That's part of the aura and the prestige of Daniel Bryan. He has that nice, long, luscious beard. And for some reason, people fell in love with it. They fell in love with Daniel Bryan. They fell in love with the Yes Movement. And they fell in love with the beard of the goat-faced man. And he's made it work for him. A lot of guys can't do that. They can't make him work, Daniel Bryan and those duck hunting guys seem to be the only ones who can really pull off the nice, long beard. I say that, but that also brings me to our next beard, and that are the beards of the Wyatt family. One of the things that made Daniel Bryan a target for the Wyatt family is his beard. They just needed to have such a luscious beard in their group to complete them. But Bray Wyatt, fantastic beard. If you go back and watch that Husky Harris guy, his face just looks terrible. It needs to be guarded by a beautiful beard. Luke Harper has a great, nice black beard with a little bit of gray. I like that. It looks good. Braun Strowman, that dude is just scary enough as it is. He doesn't need a beard, but my gosh, does it. Wow. I still can't get over this Braun Strowman guy. This guy he's legit to me. Also, Eric Rowan, he might be not in the Wyatt family, or he might be facing the Wyatt family if you believe those internet rumors. But Eric Rowan has a lovely ginger beard, and that's always just fun to see. You see all those crazy little ginger people running around without any facial hair, and so it's nice to see one of them with supporting the beard. I feel like I should have waited for November for this subject, but it just came to me and inspired by the question from Farmer. So once again, thank you, Farmer, for your question. Another fun beard that I like, Zeb Coulter. I don't know why Zeb Coulter isn't on TV anymore. I really liked what he was doing with Jack Swagger. carrying out those picket signs, those incredibly racist and offensive um, picket signs. But yeah, he's got the nice full beard coming down from his the mustache coming down. Um, really looks great. It really kind of drives home the fact of his character of being a stubborn American who hates all immigrants and all foreigners. Um, it's kind of a bad stereotype of that. Yeah, it's kind of what you think about when you think of someone who has those feelings. Um, Jeff Hardy, he's had some interesting facial hair from a very interesting person. He kind of had the little streaks that ran across, just little streaks of beard that ran across. That was kind of interesting. Really fit his oddball personality really well. Speaking of oddballs, that CM Punk guy, he's had some bunch of different facial hair through his career. I really like the little mutton chop things he was doing in the few months before he left WWE. But I enjoyed that. I also really liked his big thick beard during the Straight Edge Society. His Straight Edge Society days, I thought that was really really good. Um, you know, like I said before, I feel like it really added to the character. It made um, that kind of cult kind of feeling a little bit more believable, as it does like with the Wyatt family. You wouldn't really buy them if they were just baby faced little Dolph Ziggler looking people without a scrap of hair on their body, as we've seen a little bit more than some of us would ever want to see. But that's neither here nor there. I would like to see what Dolph Ziggler looks like with facial hair. I think that could be interesting to see. Maybe in a few years when he's kind of winding down his career, maybe he'll grow out a little stubble of facial hair. Let's see. Probably favorite uh, my favorite facial hair of all time is a tie, because one was inspired by the previous, and that would be of Harley Race and Triple H. Once again, Triple H is another guy who's had many different versions of his facial hair. Um, and the one I'm talking about, the Harley Race um, kind of beard, it comes down here and then goes over the top and then comes back here. It's not, you don't have any of this. Um, I think that was around the time of the end of Evolution, a little bit after, maybe like 2004, 2005. If you can't picture what I'm talking about for Triple H, you can go back and look at that. I don't know why that facial hair has just always stuck out to me as a really good one. And last but not least, the award for manliest facial hair goes to the Vaudevillains. Everything about these two men is manly, and they have the facial hair to match. The nice clean cut look for Mr. Aiden English, and the beautiful curled mustache for Osh Gosh, Simon Gotch. It just looks good. It's manly. I don't know what else to say. But once again, thank you to Farmer for answering that question and asking this next question, which I've just received a few minutes before I've started recording this. And Farmer is interested to know um, thoughts on Paul Heyman and his managing of other superstars while Brock Lesnar is away, because we all know Brock Lesnar sucks, and he's not willing to go out there like the rest of the guys and wrestle every night. And I guess some people would say that he's earned that right, but those people are wrong. So yeah, whatever. And so I'm of differing opinions when it comes to Paul Heyman. And I think I have a few thoughts on this. Obviously, Paul Heyman is without question the best talker in the WWE right now. I don't think anyone would really object to that. The WWE has a lot of great talkers. You know, Kevin Owens is fantastic. John Cena, even though he does say the same thing every week, he still gets people to cheer for him right after they were ferociously, that is not a word, viciously, I was saying viciously and ferociously, I put those together, After booing him, they will cheer him just because he says the name of their town and their local sports team. Um, but Paul Heyman is the best. No one spins a promo like Paul Heyman. And as I've said before, I think Paul Heyman is the majority of the reason that Brock Lesnar is a believable character, because if he had to go out there himself, you wouldn't believe him in his promos as much as you would with having Heyman there. You know, Lesnar is just that big guy to stand there and be intimidating, and Lesnar um, will spin you this wonderful word web, um, and just do a great job. I mean, I witnessed it um, in person when I was at Raw in Kansas City. Heyman was doing a promo on the legend, The Undertaker, and you know everybody cheers for The Undertaker. And I remember thinking at the end of his promo, I'm like, wow, people are cheering for what was essentially, it was a heel promo, and he had people in the palm, everyone in the palm of his hand, and it was amazing what he does. And so it sucks that we don't get that each and every week when Lesnar's gone. And it would be nice to see Heyman potentially manage some other guys. But at the same time, I think a lot of that hasn't really worked very well in the past, other than with CM Punk, and they already have a pre-standing connection and friendship. You know, it didn't really work with Cesaro. It didn't work with Curtis Axel, and it didn't work with Ryback very well. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that people always will picture Heyman as being Brock Lesnar's advocate. And so when they see him managing someone else, they just think, oh, that's Brock Lesnar's advocate with somebody else. And for whatever reason, it doesn't work very well, and it hasn't worked very well up to this point. I mean, you know, there's obviously going to be some exceptions. You know, his managing days way back in WCW with the big giant cell phone. Um, but yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about Heyman managing other people. I mean, just for the pure fact of a promo, I would like to see them maybe attempt it again, just so we can have that again. But like I said, people are just going to see him as Lesnar's advocate, and I don't know if it will come across as believable, or if it'll even work. I don't know who they would uh, put Heyman with, because I feel like there's a lot of good talkers on the roster right now. You know, even like Ryback, I feel has come into his own and can do some pretty good promos. I think maybe this would be really weird, but potentially like a Roman Reigns, who people already have issues with with his promos. I don't I don't really have a problem with them. I thought he was becoming really good up until the match with Lesnar, but as we've seen lately, you know, there's not a lot of promo time with uh, when you're in a feud with the Wyatt family. The Wyatts tend to get all the talking time, and Ambrose and Reigns are kind of left out to dry a little bit. But I think it might be able to work with Heyman and Reigns. Um, you know, you just need someone uh, who can't talk, you know, very well. I mean, I don't like saying this, but maybe like a Finn Balor kind of guy, or Hideo Itami, you know, a foreign person, or hell, I just thought Sheamus. Put him with Sheamus. You don't have to ever hear Sheamus talk again. That could work really well. But just maybe someone, you know, I hate to say this, but you know, just a foreign person who potentially WWE wouldn't think can do a great promo, like Neville. You know, they have a strong accent, and so they might feel the need to put Heyman with that person to improve them. And I think it would improve them, but I just don't know whether people would believe it or not. I'm finding this a little hard to do. I've been talking for 15 minutes straight, and this is a lot easier to do when I have Matt here, so I can take a break and get some water. And unfortunately, I didn't bring any water with me for the recording of the show. But don't you worry, Matt will be back. He's taking a little vacation right now, hanging out with the fiance Las Vegas. So Matt, when you get back, we need to record a show. Um, but don't you worry, guys. It's going to be awesome. Um, I'm not really sure, but I think this next show that Matt and I will do together, I think one topic we've kind of thrown around as potentially being an idea is to look at the greatest ladder matches of all time, that you might have forgotten about, that you might not think about. TLC at WrestleMania 17, the triangle ladder match from, what was it, 15 or 16 WrestleMania, or Shawn and Razor. Just try to think outside the box a little bit. We've thrown that idea around with each other a few times. And another idea we've kind of thrown around is kind of a debate between who really should be the face of the company, being either John Cena or Randy Orton. And I invite all of you to pick who do you think supports whom. Do you think that I support Randy Orton and Matt supports Cena, or I support Cena and Matt supports Orton? So why don't you guys send us a tweet? Let us know what you think about that. Who you think is going to side with whom? So go send us a tweet at wwelockertalk on Twitter. And I think our next show we should be able to do a really good show with ladder matches and Randy Orton and John Cena. And so after that little bit of a plug, I think I beat the Heyman managing thing to death. Once again, it's a really good question, Farmer. I'd like to hear Matt's opinions on this, so maybe we can also throw that in during our next episode. But next, I want to delve a little bit into the current WWE storylines, and give you a few of my thoughts on what's been going on lately. And I think two of the divisions in WWE right now that are kind of popular to talk about right now, and for good and bad reasons in both, would be the Divas Revolution and the tag team division, which Titus O'Neil has so eloquently. It's kind of bad when you can't say eloquently in an eloquent manner. But he says that there is a tag team revolution going on right now, and I'm not sure if I agree with that, but I think they are on the cusp of a tag team revolution. And so I would like to start with the tag team division, and specifically the New Day. If you read my tweet on last Monday's Raw, I have officially adopted the New Day as my all-time favorite tag team. Week in and week out, the New Day is the most entertaining part of Raw, and I assume SmackDown if I watch that on a regular basis. I don't know what it is. I do know what it is. It's Xavier Woods and his musical talents. The thing that he was doing with the trombone on the outside, blowing it as Big E was stomping whoever they were wrestling on Raw, and kind of just adding that extra little fun element, and just yelling at the top of his lungs and doing all this stuff, and it just makes for some really, really entertaining television. It's kind of funny to think that he's there yelling, and the announcers are trying to do their job. Who knows how well the job they're doing there, but you just hear Xavier over their microphones just yelling, and it just has to be frustrating for them trying to call the match, if Michael Cole knows how to do that, while Xavier's yelling and blowing a trombone and combing his hair. But man, I love what those guys are doing. And I think they have a lot of good competition if that competition was booked right. Obviously, their new big competition, which has inspired even more enjoyment for me, is the return of the Damn Dudleys, as they have been known. And the whole save the tables movement and give tables a chance and bubble wrapping tables. I mean, this is really high quality stuff if you ask me. And I oh I it's amazing. Like, just imagine what they would be able to do, like, in the Attitude Era, if those three were thrown in with the Dudleys and Edge and Christian and the Hardys, whom I also want to speak about after I get done talking about how awesome the New Day is. They're just great. Even there was some sort of I don't really know exactly what was happening, but there was some sort of a challenge thing that was going on in WWE. I assume it was to benefit some sort of charity or something. But either way, if you go on Twitter, you'll find this awesome video. I believe Xavier Woods is the one who posted it, of New Day and Sasha Banks singing and dancing to Seal's "Kiss from a Rose," and I can't just say it enough. It's just so good. It's so entertaining, and I enjoy it so much. It's really good. But at the same time, in the tag division, you have these teams like the Primetime Players who are very gifted athletes, and I feel like Titus O'Neil is getting over in a big way, which he deserves to be. And you have the Dudleys, who I was really excited to see back, but at the same time, I'm kind of excuse me, I'm kind of more in the frame set of where I want to see what the younger guys can do. I've already seen the Dudleys. They've done it all, and while I definitely think that they're improving the tag division, and I'm excited to see them, but at the same, I'm not as excited as a lot of other people are. And that brings up a topic that I've been seeing going around Twitter and around wrestling websites, and that's the potential of a return to the WWE by Jeff Hardy. And people were clamoring at that backstage section between the New Day and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian, and how they were saying how it would be perfect if the Hardys were there at the same time. And to me, the Hardys, they were my favorite team of the three big teams in the Attitude Era. But I don't care to see them back. I mean, yes, it would be great, but like I said, I want to see these new guys duke it out and to prove it for themselves. I mean, it would obviously be a very smart move by the WWE when it comes to making money, because if that Hardy music hits, everybody's going to go crazy, as they did when the Dudleys came out. And yeah, I don't know. I just I don't need it to happen. It would be nice, but maybe for one final match, as Christian might say, just have one more match, which tends to snowball into more than just one match. But I really don't need to see that many more guys coming back for long-term deals. Yeah, the Dudleys are fine. It's just one tag team, and they're very entertaining, and they will definitely sell a lot of merchandise, make a lot of money for the WWE. But I don't really need to see more guys like that on a weekly basis. What I do need to see, however, is another battle of the bands between the kazoo playing Edge and Christian and the trombone playing Xavier Woods. They're just that good. I can't explain it. And so those are my kind of thoughts on the current tag team division. And I want to wrap this show up a little shorter than we have lately, but I've been talking nonstop for a while here. But here are my thoughts on the Divas Revolution, which we've done many times, and we've beat it over the head many times. But I've come up with an idea that I think will please a lot of people. And first, that obviously starts off with Nikki Bella losing the title to Charlotte on Raw tomorrow night. Not breaking AJ's streak, because she doesn't deserve it. Second, probably retire that ugly, stupid Divas title. It's horrible. But those are just little things. But this is something that I think um, it could potentially happen because all the pieces are in place for it, and it should happen. And there's um, a good story behind it, which is what I feel the Divas Revolution is missing a lot. It's missing good stories. When you have Sasha Banks versus Bayley at NXT Takeover, you have this story of Bayley being left behind by her three best friends, and proving to herself and to everyone that she is just as good as Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch and Charlotte. And so people were invested in this match, and that's one of the reasons it was such a great match. They obviously put on a hell of a performance, but you had the story, and so you were emotionally invested in that story. And we don't really have that with the Divas division right now. And I think I have a way to give us a meaningful story, and to add to the Divas division, and just to get Nikki Bella away from the Divas title forever. Um, and so my thoughts here are the first opponent for Charlotte to defend the Divas, or hopefully, if we're really lucky, the women's title against would be Natalya. We've all been wondering, Natalya's been wondering why she hasn't been involved in the Divas Revolution. Arguably one of the best wrestlers that the WWE has for women, and probably better than a lot of the guys on the roster as well. And so I'd like to bring you back to a previous time, a much simpler time. It's a time called 2014. It was after WrestleMania, I believe. I think it was after Paige had become the Divas champion. This was 2014, right? Or was it 2013? Either way, it was a much simpler time than it is in the current times. But Paige had just won the Divas title, and thus she had to drop the NXT Women's title. And so the match at Takeover, I believe it was a Takeover event, pitted Charlotte against Natalya in, up until that time to me, was the best women's match I've ever seen. Charlotte had her dad, Nature Boy Ric Flair, in her corner. Natalya had her uncle Bret Hart in her corner, and they put on one heck of a match. And if it wasn't for Sasha Banks and Bayley, it would still be the greatest women's match of all time, in my opinion, to this day. And so I think the WWE needs to play on that fact, and play on the fact that Natalya has not been involved in the Divas Revolution. You could kind of do a thing similar that they did with Bayley, where Natalya is upset that she hasn't been featured in this Divas Revolution, and that she thinks that she is the best wrestler on the planet. She's the best female wrestler on the planet. And they can call back to that match at NXT, to where she put on a heck of a match, and it was a match that could have gone either way if it wasn't already predetermined. And they put on a great match, and I think this could lead to a great feud between Charlotte and Natalya, and it could have meaning, which is desperately needed in the Divas division. And so I think that would be great. Yeah, you would kind of leave, Becky Lynch and Paige and Sasha Banks kind of behind, but at the same time, you could put them in their own feud, and you could still keep going with the multiple feuds in the Divas division, and have multiple Divas matches on Raw and SmackDown every week. And I think it would make everybody happy. It would be really good. You'd get these really good wrestling matches, and you wouldn't have a bunch of the whole hair pulling and rolling around on the floor and all that other crap that we don't buy anymore. And so let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Natalya could be a good starting feud for Charlotte? Do you think it should be somebody else? Do you think that Sasha Banks deserves to win the Divas title more than Charlotte? Let me know your thoughts. Send me a tweet at wwelockertalk. I will read them. I will retweet it if it's a good one. I'll favorite it if it's a good one still. I'll mention it on a future episode if you decide to want it known on a future episode and get your get your name up in the lights of WWE Locker Talk. Um, so yeah, send us a tweet on your thoughts on the Divas Revolution, on the Tag Team Revolution. Um, who do you think has the best beard in WWE? Send us that tweet. Um, what are your thoughts on Paul Heyman managing other people? You think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Um, Basically, any of your thoughts on wrestling in WWE, we want you to send our thoughts. Um, because we like to think that we've started to develop this awesome community with us and those lovely Brits over the pond, RTM Wrestling, Steven Sorrell, um, Ted, who is a legend, just all these people, Nick Gator, all these people that we feel we're just building this fun wrestling community who all loves talking about wrestling. And so we want you, if you are not a part of that community, to get involved. Tweet with us, tweet those people, don't tweet Farmer, he'll get a big head. But just tweet us all your thoughts about wrestling. We love talking about that with you. And so I think that's all we've got for you now. It's been a half-hour show. I've been talking for a half hour straight. So I think I'm going to go drink some sweet tea, make some dinner, and I don't know. I'll maybe watch something on the WWE Network tonight, and maybe I'll send out a few tweets about my thoughts of whatever show I'm watching. And so that makes it this time's hashtag of the week. And so hashtag quite manly. Once again, this is WWE Locker Talk. Make sure you join in our conversation on everything WWE, past, present, and future on Twitter at WWE Locker Talk. I thank you for joining us, and hopefully we can have another great episode next week, and that we continue to come into your homes and onto your laptops in the future. So once again, thank you for watching, everybody, and I hope that you all have a wonderful week. I will see you Monday night for live tweeting of Monday Night Raw.